Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Ruth podcast. I am your host, Ruth Anna Sontag, but my friends call me Truth Ruth because I speak the truth. And you know what the truth does? It sets you free. Here on this podcast, you know what we do? We dive deep into the topics of faith, fitness, business, and all things success, and the kind of truth that will transform your life. I love to bring on incredible guests who are living out their calling, breaking through barriers, and making an impact. And together, what we do is we are going to uncover wisdom, share powerful stories, and equip the next generation for success. So let's get into it. This week, I am bringing on a very powerful guest. She's absolutely incredible. She has been a physician and she is in functional medicine. You'll hear a little bit more about that. And what we're going to do today is we're going to have a conversation about how your health is your wealth. Help me welcome to the podcast, Catalina Grija. Woo! Catalina, thank you for joining me today. How are you today?
I am great. Thank you, Ruth. I'm so amazed to be here. I'm grateful to be here. And yes, let's share the truth because it is true. Health is our wealth.
It is so true. What is that? So for our listeners who are just getting interested or just getting to know you, Catalina and I met at a mastermind. We're in a mastermind together with one of our coaches, Eileen Wilder, and we met recently in Vegas. And I was like, I've been wanting to interview everybody within the mastermind so that they can share their strategies, their tips, their tricks, their tools for success with you all. So we're just taking the mastermind of all the things that we know and we're sharing it to support and equip more people. And so, Catalina, if we could give our listeners a little bit about you, would you mind sharing a little bit of your background and what is it that you do?
Absolutely. My pleasure. So I'm a physician and I've been practicing internal medicine for like 27 years. And I have always been more attracted to prevention
Mm-hmm.
and really treasuring health. And a few years ago, 5 years ago, I dove into functional medicine because I found that it's so much easier, obviously, to help people prevent medical problems and change their lifestyle to empower them rather
Yes.
than having to use medications and try to control chronic medical problems but without any hope of actually you know becoming healthy. And
Yeah.
I don't agree with that point of view. Of course we want to prevent complications, but it's so much more empowering to try to get to the root of the problems and fix them.
I love that. I love prevention. I love prevention versus like correction. It's so much easier to stop a problem before it exists than
Mhm.
to try and remedy it once it's running wild. That's so powerful. Now, something I'm curious about, you said that you've been a physician for 27 years. First off, thank you for your service. I'm sure that you have stories on stories and so much you could share here today. A question that I have for you is what is the difference between maybe like a regular physician that people are aware of and functional medicine? Can you share a little bit more about what is functional medicine and why should people care?
Absolutely. So in traditional medicine, people go to the doctor because they don't feel good, or
Mhm.
they go for an annual, they get a diagnosis, and they get a certain, treatment protocol, medications,
Uh-huh.
or surgery. And of course, sometimes we need medications. Of course, they can be life savings surgeries, the same. But in functional medicine, we don't go by a diagnosis. We want to
Okay.
see, how do you feel? What's wrong? What is going on with you? And then try to figure out what was the origin of those symptoms.
Oh, okay.
Understanding that everything starts with genetics and with every single cell's health.
Okay.
Nothing develops all of a sudden. It's like a big flood. No, something, a river, went overboard, or something happened here.
Yeah.
And what was that? It's a genetic thing. It's an exposure to a toxin. Is it what we eat? Because we are what we eat.
Ooh, that's so true.
Definitely. Right. And set up a personalized plan for that person to
Okay.
feel better, to empower them for the rest of their lives, to know exactly what to do to stay
Yeah.
healthy,
Wow. Versus just treating symptoms.
versus just controlling. You diagnose somebody, you say, okay, you have to go on a medication for the rest of your life, and
Wow.
good luck.
Yeah, it's the good luck approach versus the, tracing it to the roots. Like you said, like that's what it sounds like you're saying,
Absolutely.
getting back to the roots, like what caused this issue to arise in the first place.
Exactly. And
Wow.
we're looking into things that in traditional medicine nobody looks at, because sometimes it can be really a trauma that triggered a symptom.
Ooh, that's so true. I see that in my line of work too. So I'm a master certified life coach, and I have seen that, what we don't deal with becomes dis-ease in the body. And so
Ex-
I 100% agree with you that I think that a lot of traumas are tormenting people and showing up in the physical body that had an emotional, relational root.
yes. And certain mentalities or certain habits that you learned as a kid because of your upbringing, because of what you saw, and those translate into certain behaviors that do not serve you practically as an adult. And if unless you're revealing those, you're digging to find those
Ooh,
out, you're never going to have the mindset to really appreciate that health is your wealth and to take the right steps in that direction.
that's so good. That's so good. I have noticed that like in life, especially like in the life coaching realm, so kind of going more of the like the mentality, the programming, the thoughts we hold, like what's happening in our soul. I've noticed that people they either are like healing or they're dealing, which dealing is more diagnosis and traditional, whereas what sounds like you're saying healing is that more functional. And I've noticed for the healing, we are like reveal, feel, and heal. Like get to the feeling of like a lot of us we will put, have you seen this? Like most people like push off the feeling. They
Mhm.
put off like I don't want to feel. They try and numb out, they try and mask it. And you know what I found interesting? Have you heard this? That studies say that it only like an emotion only needs like 90 seconds to be fully expressed. Have you heard that research?
Right. Yes. And the other thing too, that 90 seconds it takes to for you to get over that thought and that
90 seconds.
temptation, and that, oh, I have to do this. I have to, have this or whatever it is. And 90 seconds, if you give yourself 90 seconds, you snap out of it.
You know what's fascinating though, Catalina, is like how many of us, and like I've done it too, like we will resist those 90 seconds
Hmm.
for days, weeks, months, years, and even decades. Some people are delaying the feeling, the 90 seconds to freedom. Isn't that fascinating?
Yes.
What are
Yes.
some what are some things that you do? I could share what I do, but what are some things that you do or you coach people that you serve, your clients, your customers, your patients? What is it that you do to help them step into the healing, to step into the feeling? What is it that you help them do?
So I have a program. So my niche in functional medicine is weight management.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So in weight management, of course, in order to be successful forever, for the
Mhm.
rest of your life, you really have to uncover everything that's blocking that path, everything
Mm,
blocking you in achieving it. Because if you didn't have the blocks, you would be there, right?
yeah.
So we go through the mindset to the digging, deep diving into anything that happened in the past, any learned behaviors, any
Yeah.
philosophy of life,
Mhm.
anything, how you view yourself. And we change those. We identify the blocks and we change those into
Wow.
building blocks. Instead of being stumbling blocks, it's building blocks for your
Ooh.
freedom.
Oh, I love that. You turn stumbling blocks into building blocks.
Yes,
Wow, I love that. I love that. And then you encourage those that you serve, and I'm sure you probably practice what you teach and preach is you encourage them to go to those places that are deep or dark or scary or into the emotion. Do you encourage people to like step into the emotion, like cry it out, feel it out, talk about it?
absolutely. The first step to freedom is awareness. If you
Come on
don't
now.
know what's holding you back, you're never going to be free.
Oh
You're
my
never going
gosh.
to attack that. And awareness is the first step, period. So it's painful for many people. It's painful, and there comes some blaming there, and some maybe judgmental thoughts about their
Uh-huh.
upbringing, maybe parents, maybe other relationships and everything. But I tell everybody, you know, we nobody knew any better.
Mhm.
Nobody, everybody's trying to do their best in terms of parenting and being a friend and everything. And we're not all taught psychology, right?
Yeah.
And so it's hard to don't blame, don't justify, just you work it on yourself, and again step into the next next make it a building block and step into uh, um, an upward slope and start climbing that, because
Yeah.
you got to go up. You cannot keep looking back and think that, okay, I haven't been successful, I will never be successful. No, just get rid of those stumbling blocks, of those things that anchor you in the past. And the other thing is that once we do specialized testing and they understand, they have these aha moments, many of them. Oh,
Mm.
because of this gene, because I've been eating this way and I have this gene, I've been feeling like this? Really?
Yeah.
So it's also a liberation. It's not my fault. I'm not guilty. It's because of my genes. And because I didn't know what I didn't know, I was doing the wrong thing for myself.
Yeah, it all goes back to that awareness, those ahas.
Exactly.
Wow. What if one of our listeners wanted to reach out to you to get that specialized testing? How would they do that?
So they would go to catalinagrija.com, to my website, and book a discovery call. And for the listeners here, it's a free discovery call. And
It's a gift.
let's find out what's going on and how I can help, if I can help.
I
But the
love that.
testing is totally different than what's done in traditional medicine.
Yes, it sounds like it. It sounds like it's way more thorough, which I love that. I love that. Let me ask a question. So, with the topic being our health is our wealth. Can you speak into that? Like, what does that mean to you? Health is wealth.
So if you're not healthy, nothing else matters.
So true. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can be as financially um, rich as possible, but if you're not happy, and there's so many, we have so many, right, testimonials, basically proof of this being true. There are so many wealthy people that are not happy, or even they're not among us anymore because they were so unhappy.
Yeah.
So unless you are fulfilled, happy, healthy,
Mm.
and all ties in together. I think Tony Robbins says, right, success without fulfillment is failure, actually.
Ooh, say that again.
Success without fulfillment is failure.
Yes. I did a Tony Robbins event just this last weekend. And I love how he was talking about that. I love that quote. Success without fulfillment is failure because it's never enough. Is it real success? You just keep, yeah. Oh my
Right.
gosh, that's
It
so
doesn't
good.
fill your soul and your heart. And if it doesn't, I mean,
What are we
once
doing?
you reach a certain level, it's like, oh, okay, what else am I going to buy, or where am I going to
Yeah,
go, or whatever. So, yeah, it got to be fulfillment.
I love that. So speaking of success, speaking of success and fulfillment, I have a question. I have a couple questions for you. So speaking of success, what does success mean to you? At your age, your stage of life, all you've experienced, what does success mean to you?
For me, success means impacting a person's life.
Mm,
If I can change the course of that person's life, if I can help them lose 30, 40, 50 pounds, even more, and become healthy, because
mhm.
most people think, oh, I need to lose weight. No, you need to become healthy so you
Yes.
can lose weight.
Yes. Dr. Berg says that. Do you know Dr. Berg?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
love watching him. I used to say like a video a day keeps the carbs away. I because he talks a lot about keto, and I used to be like a keto video a day keeps the carbs away because it was about like just like just training myself to identify foods that were going to spike, not spike, that's not even a word, spike my glucose, like certain carbs. They just, I don't know, for me, they're like not my friend. They don't make me feel really good inside. Like my body doesn't feel like they feel sluggish. If I eat
Mhm.
tons of carbs or um, breads, pastas, rice doesn't typically do it to me, but like breads and pastas for sure. Or even if I eat like loads of fruit, sometimes if I eat a lot of fruit,
Mhm.
I won't be feeling good about myself on the inside. I
Mhm.
won't feel good on the inside. And so, anyways, I used to say, Dr. Berg, Dr. Berg always says, you don't lose weight to get healthy. You get healthy to lose weight, what you just said. And I would always say a Dr. Berg video a day keeps the carbs away.
Yeah, yeah. So probably genetically, you don't metabolize sugars properly.
Yeah.
That's seen in the nutrigenetics test.
And yeah, I don't know that to be like, I don't have that on a record, but I'm sure that's the case. My father passed away of diabetes. So it's like,
Mm,
I'm just mindful of, I'm very mindful of those sugars. Like, I don't want that to be my story. I don't want to
absolutely.
leave the earth early. He died when he was 49 years old, young,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
49, 4 kids, wife, like happily married. And that really affected my family major. Like,
Yeah.
um, growing up, we were homeschooled, and my mom was a hospice nurse. And so my dad was sick, my mom's a hospice nurse, we were homeschooled also. So like part of my growing up journey was and schooling was taking care of my dad. Making sure that we checked his insulin, or we gave him insulin, we checked his blood sugar, we gave him his IVs, we cleaned out his ulcers on his feet. He had his leg amputated
Mm,
in 1997, and then he had a stump revision in 1998, and then he passed away in 2000. And that whole journey of how his health was so affected and hindered. I mean, it really hits home for me.
absolutely. And yeah, that must have influenced you big time. And it's a like trauma. It's
Yeah,
very traumatic experience to
yeah.
see your father suffer like that.
It was not pleasant.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also growing up, I didn't know any different. That was
Yeah.
also the thing. I just, maybe it was part of God's kindness. When you grow up, you don't know any different, so you just think it's
Mhm.
normal. So you don't know to compare, like what to compare it to. Um, but kind of shifting from there, looking back, I can think of some things I would give myself, advice I'd give myself as a younger person. I would say, cool it on the sugar. It's not good for you. I would say take it easy on the sugar. But what advice? I'm curious. Like, what advice, like going back, would you give to your younger self um, to start this journey of health sooner?
Oh, absolutely. Um, I would definitely advise to, first of all, to appreciate time,
Hmm.
to put that as your priority, because time, I don't want to say it flies, because that's not a good thing to say, right? But we all have the same, number of hours in a day and the same number of days in a year, and we don't appreciate it. We say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, oh, I'll do it next summer, oh, I'll do it. No, do it now.
Do it now. Do it
Do it
now.
now.
Advice
So
to the next generation. Appreciate
absolutely,
time. Do it now.
do it now. Whether it's take care of your health, spend time with your family, enjoy those moments that never come back. um,
Mm.
don't focus only on a job, because like one of my nurses was saying, nobody's going to raise you a statue if you crash.
Ooh, no one's gonna raise you a statue if you crash. There's no glory in burnout.
No, absolutely none.
That's
And
so good.
I went through that for so many years without looking. It was not even the comfort zone, because it was not comfortable, but it was the you're used to it zone,
Mm-hmm.
and the familiar. And I should have looked into functional medicine, into these prevention medicine sooner, and transition sooner. I
Yeah.
should have.
That's good
um,
advice for the next generation too. Like appreciate your health, take care of it. It's easier to prevent than to correct, and even what you talked about earlier, I think is really valuable. Like two things you mentioned, which is like really getting to the origin of the issue versus just diagnosis and maintenance. That would be great advice to give the younger generation. And like seeking the fulfillment within the work you're doing and feeling your feelings so that you can get over issues versus like packing them down for years.
exactly, because you can be fulfilled in one field, but if everything else, I mean, we all have four quadrants, right? Like your health and wellness, your career, your family relationships, and then your finances. So unless all of these are at the same level, it's a wheel, it's not a star, right? The wheel of life, it's a wheel of life, not a star of life. All of these have to be at the same level of achievement, of the best level that it can be at, in order for you to advance in life
Yeah.
and be happy and be fulfilled and not have regrets.
Yeah, because if not, then your wheel of life will have a flat. You'll have a flat tire
Yeah,
if part of your
absolutely.
wheel is not developed or operating. That wheel. There's one part that's like weaker, or different parts that are weaker. You got a flat tire,
Right. Or a star, where
or
you're like perfect in one area, and then the rest are like, "Ooh," like
yeah,
really low. It's imbalanced. It
yeah,
cannot be healthy and um, fully happy
yeah.
uh, with that.
What's something that you see people struggling with today, kind of in our world? What's a struggle that you see most often?
So I think that one of the biggest problem is the weight, these and metabolic diseases because of this,
Mm,
and the fact that it's trending to be at a younger and younger age, and it's horrible. I mean, to the point where even countries in Asia, which didn't used to have obesity issues,
mhm.
now have it.
Yeah.
And so this is a pandemia that leads people in the very wrong direction of their health. I mean, it's not health anymore. And this problem has to be fixed. And one of my dreams, if I would be able to do that, is to, and I think with the Make America Healthy Again approach, hopefully this will happen. but in schools for children to have nutritious foods, because for some kids that's the only food that they get. And
Mm.
if it's full of chemicals and empty calories, and more kids become overweight and have diabetes, and then they have cancer and mental disease, and don't perform in school because they don't have the right nutrients.
Yeah. I've
Um,
seen it firsthand. When I was a teacher, after lunch, the kids were just like, they would go into like a comatose. Like it was like a carb coma, and you could see it. And then like you could see what they ate for lunch, or they'd be bouncing off the walls. And then you'd be like, well,
mhm.
what did they have for lunch? Oh, they had this like tons of sugar, or they had all these, like you said, empty calories or carbohydrates. And I mean, it would just send the kids into a frenzy. Into a frenzy. I would be like, learning can't even happen.
No.
It's hard for learning to happen when their brain and their blood system, their bloodstream is just being hijacked by sugar. And
Yeah.
then your cortisol and your stress hormones are going through the roof. You're trying to control people, trying to control the situation, and then it's like energy spikes and then energy crash. I
Mhm.
saw that. So your recommendation would be like, let's get the food in the schools right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because kids, of course, do what they see. And even
Mhm.
if kids were um, when they were at home and they were eating home cooked meals,
Yeah.
when they go to school, they have the peer pressure. And these foods are made, right, to stimulate the senses and to cause addiction,
Yeah.
literally, to the foods. And then they don't want to eat the homemade food anymore.
Yeah. Who would when you're addicted to the drugs?
Exactly. So that's why the food industry has to change. They
Yeah.
have to change.
I agree. I agree. I have a question for you, kind of based on kids. So, I have a program called Success Club where I educate, equip, and empower kids to think, speak, and act like champions. And we get into all the things of, mindset, communication, actions, what we consume, whether it's food, drinks, media, relationships, like the kind of attention we consume. So my question for you is, with a program like Success Club, educating, equipping, empowering kids to think, speak, and act like champions, and supporting parents to raise world changers, why do you think the world needs something like Success Club right now?
They definitely need that because, first of all, parents don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
They work a lot and they feel compelled to work to provide for their families. Second, in schools, children are not taught literally logic
Mm.
and survival, because so many kids become depressed or anxious with the first trial of life,
So true.
right? They have, I mean, they're a hockey or whatever sports team, but I also want to ace it. And I don't have time and I don't have the capacity to do that, especially if I don't eat healthy. And they crash. And some don't ask for help, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so this is huge to change, to build champions, exactly like you said, to build champions of life, to just be able to deal with whatever life throws at you without throwing in the towel. And again, don't think of these as challenges, as stumbling blocks, but think of them as building blocks
I
to
love
be
that.
to make you more powerful so that you achieve your best potential. I heard it said it's un-American not to reach your maximum potential.
Ooh, say that again. That was good.
It is un-American not to reach your maximum potential.
Oh, that is so good. That is so good. And I just want to highlight what you said because it was so powerful. And if we don't get the equipment and the empowerment and the education of these tools to these kids, they're going to end up being weak and wimpy, and life is just going to bulldoze them. they're not going to actualize their potential, and they're going to be tossed around like a wind whipped wave.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
so powerful. That is so powerful. What advice would you give to parents who are wanting to champion their children to eat healthy and who themselves are trying to maybe like cut the sugar and get the snacks out? Well, what advice would you give to them to take a step into healthier living?
First of all, view the fast food and all these foods that have more than 5 ingredients in them as poison.
Mm,
Understand that organic, however, not 100% it may be, okay, or whatever your credibility is about those,
yeah.
it's better than not organic
Yeah.
or GMO, okay? So buy those foods.
Mm-hmm.
Promise you, it may be expensive, but you should not wonder why is that so expensive. You should wonder why is the bad stuff so cheap.
Ooh, I like that. It's like changing their view. Like, not the good stuff is so expensive, the bad stuff is so cheap. That's so
Exactly.
good. And like questioning why would they try and make the addicting stuff so appealing and affordable?
Exactly, because that's where the cheap
So
food
good.
is a money maker, but is destroying us. And to
Yeah.
understand that every single cell, every single reaction in your body needs vitamins and minerals. For one
Yeah.
molecule of energy, you need all these minerals and vitamins, and you cannot function without. So a kid that wants only pasta and pizza will not have any nutrition at the cellular level. So of course something's going to go wrong sooner or
Yeah.
later.
Probably sooner. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
then pay attention to your children. Don't ignore don't ignore them.
Yeah.
Pay attention, build a really strong relationship so that they tell you everything that they feel, and make them busy, give them a strong support foundation, a very healthy food, put them in sports, make them build friendships, relationships, and if they have a certain gift, go for it.
Go for
Give
it.
them all the opportunities to develop that.
Pay attention to your kids, build strong relationships so they feel safe talking to you about everything, keep them active. And then if they have a gift, like, blow wind on that fire.
Absolutely, support them in
Support
everything they
them.
want to, what they want to, what they're gifted for, and what they want to accomplish. Because um, everybody should be dreaming, and everybody forgets that.
That's
We all go
so
into a
good.
routine, and life goes on, and then, oh my God, what did I do with my life?
Yeah. That's so true. Now, as we kind of wrap up for today, if you could, Catalina, if you could leave our listeners with one challenge or an action step or like a word of encouragement, what would it be?
Don't take health for granted.
Mm.
Don't take health for granted. Think that no car can run without fuel.
Ooh, that's so good.
And no matter how beautiful it is and luxurious it is, if you don't put fuel, it's not going to go.
That's right.
And put the right fuel with, nutritional, spiritual, mental support, everything. Put the right fuel in yourself, and see and remember that your children do what they see, not what they are told.
That's so good. Oh my gosh. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your pearls of wisdom. Thank you for sharing your advice. Again, if you guys would like to reach out to Catalina, you see her name here on the screen. It's just her name, catalinagrija.com. Did I say that right? Grija?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. I was practicing. I wanted to make sure I didn't say your name wrong. Guys, thank you
Mhm.
so much. Thank you so much for just listening in today. This conversation was truly amazing. And I know something landed for somebody listening today. So I want to encourage you, please share what stood out to you, what insight, what wisdom, what is something you heard today that you're going to apply. If you want to connect with us and let us know, we'd so appreciate getting to know what impacted you today. And for those listening, remember, success is not just about what you achieve, but it's about who you become in the process. And if you want to help your kids step into their God given potential, I want to encourage you guys to check out Success Club. We are helping to raise up champions. And like Catalina said, put the right fuel in the vehicle so it can run for the long haul. So it can run for the long haul. So I want to say, bless you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Catalina, thank you so much for being on the Truth Ruth podcast today. It was such a pleasure having you.
My pleasure. It was wonderful. You are a wonderful host, and you have an amazing uh, idea. And the program that you run is amazing, and that's exactly what we need these days.
Amen. I agree. I agree. We're out here raising up champions, and I just want to say bless you all. Thank you so much, Catalina, for being on. Thank you guys for listening, and have a wonderful, triumphant day. Bye, everybody.
Too.